All right. Batman is like an integral part of like my childhood from the time of the animated series to the animated movies to the live action movies. I've ranked a
Ditto.
lot of DC films and I want to continue that here. And I've brought my friend Batman Ultra 7 to help me do it. We're going to collaborate ranking my top five theatrical Batman movies on my channel and ranking
Hmm.
his top five animated Batman movies on his channel. So
The
check that out
ultimate
after this.
collaboration.
Or what was that?
I said it's the ultimate Batman collaboration.
Oh yeah, you're right. Exactly. It's the ultimate Batman collaboration. There's never been a better one before or after, unless we do it again somehow.
Yeah.
You do cartoons. We probably could do that if we wanted to.
Yeah.
I'd be down for that eventually. But yeah. Is there anything you want to say to introduce yourself, Mr. Batman
Uh,
Ultra?
my name is Batman Ultra 7, creating all the content that Warner Brothers loves to block every day. And I've just loved Batman from the age like 5 probably. I've been watching the 60s Batman movie, Batman the animated series, the Batman, not Beware the Batman because that sucks.
Really? I gotta watch it now. I still gotta watch it because I hear like mixed things about it.
I hate Beware the Batman with a burning passion.
I have a question though. Is it mostly because of the animation or is like the story also not that great?
The writing is poor. I'm partially biased because Batman Brave the Bold was canceled to for Beware the Batman.
It was. I thought Raven the Bold was like over like for several years before Beware the Batman came out.
No, they announced it right after it got canceled.
Okay. Well, all right.
And
We'll
I'm a
have to,
huge
yeah.
fan of Brave the Bold. Like anyone
I
who
don't know.
knows me knows I'm a huge fan. Yeah, so that really bummed me out. So it already had a bad taste in my mouth from the get go.
I get that. Well, now we're talking about better animated outings, like your
Like
top five
great
favorite animated movies.
great animated stuff. Like you
Yeah,
know, this is cinema. What we're
this is real
talking about.
cinema. Let's
Yeah.
let's let's get into like your number five, which is Batman: Return of the Cape Crusaders. This one is about where this is based off of the old '60s. This is the '60s, right? The '60s cartoon, not cartoon show with Adam West and like Batman and Robin have their hands full with the Penguin, the Joker, Riddler, and Catwoman. I hear that they got most of the original cast to come back for this. I've
Uh,
I know they got Adam West for Batman, and then like
yeah. I'm a huge fan of the Adam West Batman. Like a lot of people are turned off against Adam West Batman because he's goofy. But I mean, have you read Batman comics?
oh my god, like even
Pretty
like the dark comics are like goofy.
Also, I mean, like the idea of an adult billionaire in a bat suit is inherently goofy, and
I mean,
I think
yeah,
people are afraid of acknowledging that
I
because
agree. I love how like inherently goofy Batman is.
like
The idea that there's this billionaire going out at middle of the night using all his like time resources and is wasting his happiness to just
Mhm.
save these people of Gotham who are just why don't they move? They don't need to be here. They can move to another city at this point. Or like these people who at the same time he keeps saving them from supervillains and they're just not thankful about it. And I liked how like in the old '60s and '60s, I call it animated, but it's not animated. The original series, this movie was animated, but
I mean, the
the original
show's
series,
practically animated.
that's true, that's true. But
um,
the way this
like I
this,
don't know how Gotham doesn't become like unincorporated territory.
oh, I know, right? You think it would be gone by now? But I
Yeah.
appreciate how this old Adam West show, from the Adam West movie, this is very much not Batman who's hated by his city or who's downtrodden. It's nice to see Batman who's like enjoying being Batman.
Yeah. I mean, he's just having fun with it. And he respects the law. Always wear your
Yeah.
seat.
Now, I do have to admit, I've never seen this movie.
Oh wow.
I am also one of those people who have been barely able to sit through the Adam West TV. So not necessarily because of like what you were talking before. I just think that film from that long ago, visually to me, doesn't age that well. Where I can clearly see the lines between it. I feel like I could definitely read a comic book. Like I read the comic books from those times where they're like very much like the Adam West TV show. I appreciate them, but I love them. But I would be interested to try and watch this movie at some point. But I have not watched it yet. This is very much like
Yeah, like this
movie.
one only came out a few years ago. So
This is not that old. This is to me the closest thing I've seen something like this on screen and appreciated was Batman Brave and the Bold, which we just talked about.
which is a banger. So
Yeah, would when the Batman Return of the Cape Crusaders, like, what was the what was the moment in this movie where you realized like, okay, this is one of my favorite Batman animated movies?
Obviously the first scene where they're in a microwave dinner, death trap, is obviously when it became one of my favorite Batman movies. Like,
Okay.
that's just, it's beyond goofy, but I love it.
Yeah,
Al- Also, there's this moment where, okay, this is spoiler territory for anyone who hasn't watched this. So if you haven't watched it, leave, watch it, then come back, please. But um, like during the movie, Batman basically gets hit by this like ray that turns him evil, basically,
oh my god.
and he recites recites lines from edgy Batman stuff, like, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts."
I wouldn't say that was Batman 89. I would say that was that edgy.
I mean, it's edgy compare. I mean, it's edgy when it's coming from,
Adam West, yeah.
and then he says to the Riddler, uh, this is a mud pile. I mean, this is
Oh, this isn't a mud hole. This is an operating table, and I'm the surgeon.
yes, he literally says that,
Oh
and
my god.
whenever he
I
punches
gotta
the villain, it's like bludgeon or something like that.
oh god. I gotta watch this. This sounds so hilarious to have Adam West doing the Dark Knight Returns lines.
I mean, it's such
And
a hilarious, like, kind of um an homage to these edgier Batman content, but you know, kind of making it funny.
yeah. And speaking of edgier Batman content, it's funny that we ranked the Dark Knight Returns. That's number 4. The Dark Knight Returns Part 2.
Yeah,
That's
ironically, what I'm talking about is in the next one.
yeah. Yeah, ironically. Like for those who don't know, I'm sure everyone knows the Dark Knight Returns by now. People who love and hate it. It's like it's after 10 years of retirement. I believe remember right, it's 10 years.
Yeah,
Batman comes back onto the streets of Gotham to take on first the mutants in part 1, but part 2 is where after defeating the mutants, the government decides they're gonna sick Superman, this very much out of character Superman on Batman.
yeah. I mean,
It's not a friendly movie to Superman, but we're not talking about this movie for being about Superman. We're just talking about Batman movie, so it's all right. We'll forgive it because unlike the last one, I have seen this movie. This is like this is probably my favorite Batman movie of all time. But
last Joker confrontation.
oh my god, the Joker confrontation in this movie this is probably I can never remember who voiced the Joker in this movie, but he's probably like top 3 for me after Mark Hamill and Joe DiMaggio.
Also, Peter Weller is a perfect Batman.
I honestly I did not. People say they don't. I've heard people say they didn't like him. Love Peter Weller as Batman.
Possible? He has like the perfect voice.
Like for me, like whenever I switch read comics now, it's either between Peter Weller or Kevin Conroy. Obviously, if it's like a Batman who's not like on the more unhinged side, is usually Kevin Conroy. But whenever he's kind of just like very much set in his ways or he's a bit older, always Peter Weller.
Like,
I'll never forget like the lines he says in The Dark Knight Returns, like no more people I've murdered by letting you live. I'm like, I don't think Kevin Conroy could have got that as well as Peter Weller did.
For me, like young Batman, Reno Romano from the Batman.
Which one is he? Which is Reno Morano? Which one is
from
he
the
from?
Batman show?
Oh, okay, he's from us, right? Okay, the Batman.
And then like 30s, 40s Batman, Kevin Conroy, obviously. For like Silver Age, obviously Dietrich Bader and Adam West. And then like older Batman, Peter Weller, and then like older Batman, Kevin Conroy.
Oh, because Kevin Conroy comes in twice. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what's really important about this movie is that a lot of superhero movies, like they're not necessarily about anything else. They don't have to be. A lot of movies can just be being a movie. They can just be enjoyable. But I appreciated that this was a movie clear about Batman's rebellion against like society and the way they just become stagnant and allowed crime to infest the streets.
Yeah.
And they were just wholly okay with it, but at the same time complaining about it. They were complaining without doing anything. Like they didn't know what action was. But at the same time, like the Dark Knight is also about something, but the Dark Knight also isn't necessarily if you changed out Batman and the Joker and you just made a random vigilante character and a new psychopath, that would still be a great movie. If Dark Knight Returns wasn't about Batman, it wouldn't work. It's a movie. This is a movie and a story intrinsically about Batman, and that's what I've liked about it. I
Also,
don't miss. Yeah,
I think the reason a lot of people don't like it, it's not people who have read it or watched the movies. It's people who don't like Batfleck.
I don't. I wouldn't just go that far. I think I've read like a lot of people who legit read comics are just like, it's not so that they don't like this story so much as they don't appreciate what it's done. Because I will admit myself that this is not like the regular Batman. This is not how Batman is supposed to be 9 to 5. Like this is a Batman who calls Robin's soldiers, right? Which is great for this movie and this tone and this story makes sense. But I had wished like the one failing of this story is that it's defined a lot of how Batman continues to treat characters like in the
Yeah.
decades since.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that like kind of bothers me, calling them soldiers.
It makes sense for a Batman who's in his 50s after he's given up the like let's get curmudgeon like that to like very much become nihilistic and see it averted the world as a him versus them kind of mentality, rather on his side or you're not. But I very much appreciate that when he's younger, he's really not like that. That is a Batman who could only be like that after we made the quit and being forced to retire and then
And
having
after
lost
getting,
Jason. Like it all makes sense in the context of Dark Knight Returns, which is why I love it so much. Like it's all a perfect piece.
also,
I do, yeah.
it's interesting that Under the Red Hood didn't happen in this continuity.
I always thought it did because it happened because I know Jason's dead. Because they had in the I don't know this maybe it's not true in the movie because the movie doesn't go that in depth on what happened. I remember in the comic book and sequels before they actually have a prequel that shows how Joker killed Jason Todd.
Yeah.
But that no, we're not talking about that one. But that was interesting. I don't know for sure how exactly Jason dies in this continuity, but it's very clear this is a
I mean,
Batman who
I'd imagine it's basically just death in the family, you know.
I can't imagine it's ever really that different. They don't really change it all that much. But I guess speaking of death in the family, we're just getting right through because what the second we talk about one, we get right into the next one because we're number 3 is Batman Under the Red Hood.
Yeah.
Which is quite literally the sequel to Death in the Family, the story that we just mentioned that turned Batman into a darker hero, and it kind of leads into the Dark Knight Returns, but not necessarily like in the main continuity. This is why
like,
Batman is
like being pushed more and more towards the edge.
Yes, this is like when Batman is like constantly depressed. Like he doesn't smile ever. Like when Batman was with Jason, Batman was like very much like a nicer person. He gave Jason piggyback rides through the Batcave. Like he was a nice guy when he took off the mask. Then Jason's dead. He's like, I am Batman all the time. I am dark and sad. I shall never work with a partner again. Nightwing the exception because he was already here. I can't get rid of him now.
Like I think like the Robins, like the Bat family themselves, and also to an extension like Superman and the Justice League are what keep Batman human.
Yes, 100%.
Like
that's the importance of Robin.
Similar to like have you ever seen Doctor Who?
No, I don't watch Doctor Who.
Oh yeah. I think we had a conversation.
We have because I don't watch Doctor Who.
But like in that show, he's a very lonely guy, and his companions, you know, who are like people that travel with him, are what keep him from going over the edge.
Okay, I guess like that makes sense. Like again, in the context of Batman Under the Red Hood,
and that's like
this one.
That's the same thing that Batman's Bat family and friends like Clark are there for.
Yeah, and then that's all happens in Death of the Family, where he loses that one of those people. Death in the Family leads into Batman Under the Red Hood, which is like our third favorite animated movie based off the kind of like the same name, where Batman's long dead protege Jason Todd, the second Robin, returns as a gun-toting vigilante called the Red Hood.
Also has one of the best scenes in all of comic book movies. Like
so many.
I'm talking about, I think. Okay, don't anyone get mad at me, but I think it's better than all of the MCU.
Well, we gotta talk about that. Which scene? Are we talking about the time where in the very beginning the Red Hood comes in and he's and he throws all the gang members' heads, like all the lieutenants, up on the table, and he's like, "You're dead!" And then he's like, "Really?" Yelled the guy with the AK-47. Please, that makes total sense.
That
Or
is
when
that is not the scene, but
that was at the scene at the end of the movie where it's just
the confrontation between Jason, Joker, and Batman.
that one is probably just thematically like the best. Just it finally gets to the point where Batman's admitting, like, I thought about killing the Joker every single day for taking you away from me. Like Jason telling to Jason. Jason is like, I think this is very much true of Dick, but I think with Jason more so because Jason never got the chance to like grow away from Batman, that he's very much always been Batman's son. I think even more so than Dick. Like Dick grew up and kind of like because of the way comics work, Dick eventually got old enough while Batman never aged to the point that they seemed almost really close in age. So it was really weird. Where Jason died before he got old enough to like before he also hit that same weird age with Dick. Where he's very much like clearly even in this movie, he is Batman's son. He is the son that Joker took from him. And he is upset that Batman of all the people that Joker could take away from Batman, that Batman didn't avenge him, that Batman didn't go out and do what needed to be done to not only avenge Jason, but avenge every person Joker's killed.
I mean, he was just mainly angry that he wasn't angry that
he failed him. He's not angry that he didn't save him. He's angry that he didn't avenge him.
Because like he was just angry that he didn't kill Joker.
I think this also like I think it's also like a perfect part of the writing in this movie, in this comic book originally, is that you think for the longest time that Red Hood wants to avenge his death, like he wants to be back at Batman for not saving him. But Jason's like, I understand that you didn't save me. You're a human. That's what I like respect about you, is that of everyone on this planet, of all the superheroes, you're the one who's just a man. Like a very like well-trained rich man, but you're still a man. And I'm not upset that you didn't save him. Like that's what Batman's hated himself for so long, is he didn't save him.
Yeah.
And it's very much like this kind of subtle plot twist around in the end of the book and the movie, is that it's like, I don't hate you for not saving. I hate you for not avenging me, because I understand that you're a human being and there's no way you could have saved.
I mean, it's not like Batman didn't almost kill Joker a few times before Under the Red Hood, like in Batman Hush. He almost kills the Joker, but
there's so many times where Batman, let's be honest here, Batman could have walked into Arkham at any time and broke the Joker's neck. It would not have been like that hard a thing.
And barely anyone would have stopped him.
I can't imagine that like anybody, the only person who's really going to stop him outside of like maybe another superhero is Commissioner Gordon. Other superheroes, Commissioner Gordon, that's from shit. Because they believe in the of the message of Batman. The Batman can't be that person, which is just like a perfect. I think it's like this perfect amalgamation of what the Batman mythos and his message, contrasting with Bruce's and Batman's needs and wants. Like it finally brings a pinch that he should this have been the one time he broke his rule? Should this have been the one time where he puts aside what it means to be Batman and just be a man who like understandably wants to murder this murderous clown for killing his child? But even Batman is, even in the movie, it's like I explains it. It's like I can't do that. Why? I'm
also, when you think about it, Killing Joke also happened.
I don't know if Killing Joke, I guess, is like very weird how it fits. Like that's a whole other can of worms. Whether or not like even that original comic book fits. Like I don't think Barbara even appears in Under the Red Hood, even in the comics. So I don't know if it's like that a big a deal.
Yeah,
it's very much about Batman and Jason. We're like,
she doesn't appear, but like I'm saying, that would give him another reason to want it.
Oh god, yeah, he's 100 reasons to do it. He never does. Or even at this point, well, I guess this wasn't really the Joker. This was Black Mask. Stephanie Brown is also dead, but like he has so many people at this point where he's lost or like his scene gotten hurt by his villains that you would have thought that he would have snapped by now. And he gets like this very eloquent monologue or short monologue. I don't know if it's even long to be considered a monologue, where Batman is missed like, I can't cross that line because I will never come back. Because once I do it once, what's to stop me from realizing that? Why don't I take out Black Mask? Why don't I take out Bane, the Riddler, Ra's al Ghul? You can't. If I can argue that the Joker can't be saved, like this person can't be changed, I can't actually help them. how
Like
long before I make that same argument for each and every single one of the other bad guys?
like
Because
like like he says, there's not been one day that I didn't want to kill him and subject him to all kinds of horrendous torture.
he just the other people. I think also one thing that Batman knows that I don't think a lot of other characters, even some fans, realize that if you really think about it, Joker is not the most dangerous Batman villain. There are tons of others who are on a regular basis more effective than the Joker. Joker's just more personal than them. Like Ra's al Ghul straight up is trying to obliterate Gotham.
I
Bane
mean,
takes over Gotham like every few years. The
Joker's just
Riddler has
great.
turned Gotham into a wasteland. Like they're all more dangerous than the Joker. And if Batman rationalizes killing the Joker out of something personal, how long before he rationalizes killing another villain or something just hurting Gotham?
Or like Darkseid.
Darkseid is like a whole different can of worms. Darkseid is like not a Batman villain. Darkseid is like a DC villain. He is everyone has Darkseid as a villain because Darkseid will straight up be like, I'm gonna fucking murk you.
I mean, he's mostly like an enemy of the Justice League and Superman.
Yeah, like if you had to pick one hero, it would be Superman over.
But
anybody.
that was like a thing they went over with the whatever event that was where he like shot him with the
Final Crisis.
With the God Killer.
That was Final Crisis. Yeah, I remember that he shot Darkseid.
Yeah, Final Crisis.
Yeah, I don't have a good segue into the number 2. We were pretty lucky with how like you talked about Return of Cape Crusaders and the Dark Knight Returns and the Batman and the Red Hood.
Actually, I have a good segue.
Are you doing a good segue for number 2?
No. We were talking about one of Bruce's sons. Let's talk about another.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Another segue is talk about how like, oh, maybe Batman almost. There's how another time Batman almost killed somebody over his son. Would have been. Yeah, there we go. This is another time Batman. It was just in Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker, which is number 2 on the animated movies list.
Which is so good.
Oh my god. This one is like, for people who don't know, this is in the Gotham City of the future. There's an older Bruce Wayne who's training a college student named Terry McGinnis. I read that he's a college student. I never actually got that he was college. I thought he might have been in high school, but it's the future. Who can tell?
Wait, he's in college?
I read that in like the summary. And like I was trying to get summaries because I haven't seen it in like 2 years. And it said he was in college. And I was like, wait, Terry's in college? I thought Terry's in high school.
I mean, I watched that this year.
I mean, honestly, you can't tell. They could easily be one or the other. Easily.
I mean, I know he was in high school during the show.
Oh, so because he definitely was in high school? Okay, then probably. You know, it would be the episode that could probably tell you it's in high school is the flower baby episode, the fake egg. They don't do that in college.
Yeah, he was in high school.
Yeah, okay, he had to be in high school. Maybe he was in college in the movie technically, but like, who cares at that point? I mean, that's just a nitpick. That's a fun fact I read about the movie, which blew my mind. I'm like, I don't think that's right.
No, so.
But yeah, Batman Beyond is like is a movie. It's a movie that's a sequel to the cartoon. It's basically the ending, closest thing to an ending outside of maybe the one Justice League episode. Like, I'm saying right now, I'm ready to die on the hill that Batman Beyond is the best Batman cartoon of all time. Even over Batman the Animated Series, the Batman the Brave and the Bold, Beware the Batman, all of them, I think Batman Beyond is the best one. I think it's so impressive how you make a new Batman, a new setting, and a new roster of villains all in one show, and then you cap it off with
all the villains are awesome too.
All of them, and they cap it all off with this movie that bridges the gap between Batman Beyond and Batman the Animated Series. It bridges the gap between Terry and Bruce.
Yeah.
By having Terry fight the Joker in a way Bruce never has.
And it's so it's so well written, so well acted, and the story is amazing. Like it's so mature for a Batman, for like a kid's Batman movie.
I guess I feel like nowadays they're just not for kids anymore, so it's not all that like
because
strange.
Because apparently everybody wants the Batman to be rated R.
But I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about the animated movies all being PG-13.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind like a rated R Batman movie, like a live action, but I'm either here nor there.
My thing is like, I think of things from perspective of a kid who wanted to watch Batman movies, like all Batman movies. Like, imagine how much of a bummer it would be like if Matt Reeves' Batman, the Batman, is rated R and like kids can't watch it.
I would say that was a bummer if I didn't see a bunch of kids go see Deadpool. So I have no problem. I have no doubt in my mind that kids will go find their way into seeing Batman. No parent is gonna look, oh, it's Batman's radar. It's just violence. No one's gonna care. I'd be honest, like there's no way that the Batman movie would have R-rated sex scenes or cursing. It would just only be violence, and no one cares about that in America. It's
You don't
fine.
know with
What
those
you think?
with
You
those
think there
rumors
might be a scene with Batman fucking Catwoman?
about Zoe, what's her name, and Robert Pattinson.
I don't know, maybe. I I guess it's possible. I doubt it, but this movie,
It's
the
brilliant.
Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, I think this movie just for some reason it just shouldn't work as well as it does on paper. Like think about this: Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond, has no relationship with the original Joker or
Yeah,
any of the Bat family outside of maybe Barbara Gordon. But this movie is so ingrained into what happened with Barbara Gordon, Tim Drake, and
yeah.
Batman and their last confrontation with the Joker. Like, there's no reason on paper that should work, but it works so well.
Also that flashback scene has to be more creepy, more like oh my gosh, than
Sadistic. There's nothing like
than anything that's been in any Batman movie in live action
like
or
we
in any Batman
yes.
comic. I think.
I think a death of the family in like the New 52 is probably way worse where he Joker makes all the Batman think he cut their faces off. But like that's like a horror comic at that point. That's like here nor there. I think what's so incredible about that flashback scene is that like other villains have figured out Batman's identity. Ra's al Ghul knows, Bane has figured it out, Riddler's figured it out, but like none of them
Which is a higher level.
deride. They don't deride Batman the way the Joker did. He
Yeah,
does. None of them went after his kids, tortured him, made him into his own sidekick, and then laughed maniacally. Like I'll never forget this. Man, I would laugh if it weren't so pathetic talking about how Batman is just a kid missing his mommy and daddy. And he goes, you know what? I'll laugh anyway. It has, I think, the most iconic laugh that Mark Hamill ever did.
also it has the most iconic like Batman versus Joker scene, like where he dives through that window.
Oh, God, you're right. That one was great.
And like the shards are, flying everywhere, and then he punches him till like Joker bleeds.
Oh, God. I remember like when he's holding Joker by the scruff of his neck, Joker's got blood trickling down his lip, but Joker's still smiling. And Batman just says, I'll break you in two. And Joker says, come on. If you really had the stones for that, you would have done it years ago. And I'm like, shit.
And then he stabs him.
That's right. He did stab Batman. I forgot that he stabbed Batman.
And then he
That
falls,
move,
and then we have the iconic.
you know what? I have a question to ask. Which ending? Because there's two versions of this scene. There's the regular version in the theater, in the not theaters, the release DVD, and then there's the uncut version. Would do you think the uncut version where he shoots him and
Yeah.
it gets him right in the heart is better, or the one where he's electrified is better?
Well, some history for why there are two cuts is because the movie came out around the same time as the Columbine massacre.
Oh, geez, I forgot about that.
That was why they had to do a different cut. Because people were still reeling from that, which is understandable.
Yeah,
And then years later, we got the original cut, which is awesome. But
I.
I think the original cut is better.
You think the electrifying scene is better than the being
No,
shot?
no, the electrifying scene is from the like cut version.
Wait, I
I'm
don't know. That doesn't make much sense because the electrifying scene has nothing to do with like Columbine versus the one where a kid gets shot.
No,
Okay,
I
when you
mean,
say original, do you mean like the
well,
original intention or the original one that came out first?
original intention. Like the
Okay.
electrifying scene is from the cut version, as in like the where they cut stuff out.
Okay, I understand what you mean now. Like,
And
yeah,
then the uncut version is where he shoots Joker.
I think I like the it's strange to me. Like, there's tons of things about this cartoon. Like, they always say, like, we can't have Joker kill people, so we'll just have him gas them so they're like in this permanent laugh. Like, that's more horrifying than killing them.
Yeah,
And to me,
honestly,
the electrifying versus shot thing is a bit the same, where being electrified looks way more horrifying and terrible than being shot.
I think it's just with that last line.
You know,
That's
you're
funny.
you're probably right because it's systematically more like emotionally horrifying. Where it's like it's just one is just violence. One is Joker's like, wow, I'm actually about to die, and he's probably thinking to himself, oh my god, I've led to my own demise, and it wasn't even by Batman like I've always wanted.
Yeah, it was by a kid.
Oh, it was by not only kids, by fucking Robin. And not even like the adult Robin. It's like this is Tim when he's like, what is he, 13, 14 in this movie, supposedly? Oh no, he never ages, no matter where he is.
I mean, he was supposed to be pretty old in the flashback, but they didn't like make him tall or anything.
Not at all. He's supposed to be like, I remember in the Just versus Fatal 5, he would be like 16, 17, but he is not taller at all.
Yeah, I think they need to do something about that.
I mean, that doesn't matter because we're probably never gonna have like I'd be hard pressed to like if we get one anytime soon that people are gonna recognize it, but that's fine. I
mean,
think
it probably wouldn't be as compelling if he did look older.
All right.
I think it's so compelling and like creepy in this movie because he's just a kid.
Yeah.
That we watched on TV.
Right. Yeah. God. That's funny how we were talking about this. We didn't talk much about the rest of the movie because that's like one scene in this movie.
Also, another scene, I don't think that many people recognize it though. When Bruce is like, basically gassed with the Joker gas. That I mean, it's a parallel scene to when Terry's dad was killed.
Oh, you're right. It's kind of like he comes home and he just finds him like gone.
It's a literal parallel. Like it's the same thing. There's the paint. There's like the spray paint of ha 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 through the hallway.
You're right.
And then he finds his surrogate father.
I think that's one like a defining moment that makes it a bit more personal for Terry because Terry doesn't like see the Joker as this really big threat because at this time of the show, like he's taking on the Justice League, he's taking on Ra's al Ghul, literally back from the dead.
Yeah,
he's met. This is a more comic episode where he meets Etrigan, or also comic. He deals with Darkseid, but he just at this point, it's like, what is this clown gonna do?
He just
and then the clown goes after Bruce in a way none of the other villains had before, and he's like, okay, this guy knows us. He doesn't even like. It's not even like he wants to blackmail us. He just wants to know it and torture us with it. And that Terry realizes like I can't take chances with this person like I thought I would. And I think it comes down to like I think is a very underrated scene. I think probably my favorite scene in the movie is towards the end, where Batman just has this. Terry had this realization. It's like, you know what, the other guy never laughed at one of your jokes. But me, I don't. I'll talk shit all you want. I'll talk smack right back to you. And you want to know something else, clown? You ain't funny. And that does he somehow gets under. I love the fact that he gets under Joker's skin in a way Batman never could and never would.
He's like, you put on some face, paint, became a clown, and decided to be a supervillain.
He's like, laughs. Yeah, like you know what he realized? He does to Joker what Joker did to Batman when he found out Batman's identity. They said Batman's just a child crying and missing his mommy and daddy. Terry says you're just a guy who dressed up in face paint.
And then Joker's like, I'm not hearing this.
Even like, something I've read, I think I had read or heard is that they had made an intentional thing that the Joker doesn't laugh or smile as often in the future when he's Tim versus when he's like his original self. I mean, like the few times he would, it was more horrifying.
When he's in the future, he looks like Hannibal Lecter.
Oh yeah, I guess you could say he definitely kind of does. He has like buzz cut, that slim suit, black suit. Yeah. He doesn't have like it's not even like a suit, I shouldn't say. It's more like a spandex tights. He's not wearing a 3-piece suit like he usually does. He's got no color. He's just.
He just basically looks like Hannibal Lecter, I think.
Yeah, he's just terrifying. God. All right. For the number one on the animated list is also number one on the theatrical movies list.
Which is the obvious answer.
Obvious choice. I just wanted to point that out because this is going to be a section where we're going to be the same in both videos because we both think this movie is the pinnacle of animated and live action movies. He thinks it's the pinnacle of animation. I think it's the pinnacle of not live action. I shouldn't say theatrical because this is the only.
I have two
animated movies that are on the theatrical list. two of them, but this is number one on the movies that
Yeah.
came out in theaters. It didn't make a lot of money in theaters. It deserved way more money in theaters,
I
but
mean,
we still glad we got it.
it deserved to outgross The Dark Knight, I think.
All right, probably. It deserved all the money in the world. And that movie is Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. This movie came a long time ago, so if anyone doesn't remember, in this movie, the troubled yet heroic Batman is pitted against a mysterious figure who's rubbing out Gotham's most dangerous criminals, and who many believe is a great crusader himself. At the same time, the love of his life from before returns, just like it's Andrea's name, Andrea. I have no question. I've always had a question of this. Is it Andrea or Andrea? Because he says it differently from every other character in the movie.
It's Andrea. Like, remember, Andrea. What does vengeance solve?
Oh, you're right. I remember that one line at the beginning, towards the beginning, where she's talking to Batman, and he's like, "You can't be ruled by your parents," and he's like, "The only person ruled by their parents in this room is you," and I'm like, "Fuck, you don't get to."
Yeah, Bruce is like,
give it away.
Bruce is like, "Are you still following Daddy's orders?" And
yeah, she's like, the only one following his parents is you. I'm like,
yeah,
well, okay, that was some.
The only person being controlled by their parents in this room is you.
God, that's such a rude thing to say, but so true.
It's the only
like
person,
this.
She's the only person that can burn Batman.
I think Catwoman could. I think any of his love interests could say that. Honestly, except for Catwoman. Catwoman would not have the context for that because she does not have a parent who she gives a crap about. At least not in most versions. But I think this movie captures Batman in a way other films just don't. Like it shows that being Batman is not fun. It's not a game. Like he's given up a lot just to be Batman, but simply his happiness. Like nothing is better than that. You know the scene.
The scene where he's at his parents' grave. And he's like, "Yeah, I didn't count on being happy."
Yeah, like I never planned on being happy. He begs them to let him.
That like shatters you.
Like it's just so sad. he didn't pick to be Batman because he wanted to beat up people. Like anyone who thinks that Batman enjoys beating people up needs to see this scene because he thinks of it as a curse. He's like, it's a duty and a thing he has to do, but it's very much a curse.
That's what annoys me about these Twitter commenters saying,
"Oh God, you've seen it so often.
Batman beats up poor people. He should help them more with his money."
And I'm like, he does. He like I remember one of my favorite Twitter threads is I've probably seen is Ashley at the Bat Family has this whole thread all the ways Batman uses his money, and you know why it never works? Because it's a fake world where no amount of money is going to stop this psycho clown from killing people. No amount of money is going to stop Ra's al Ghul from wanting to destroy the city, or Bane from taking it over, or Riddler from wanting to do anything. And like,
in the end, these villains aren't crazy.
I mean. I guess so. Some of his villains are. It depends on they're like a difference of one by one, but even if they are crazy, they're not his fault.
Most of them know what they're doing. Joker's
that's like the terrifying thing.
He's in total control of his faculties. He wants to kill people. Poison Ivy, just believes in her cause that much that she doesn't care about human life.
Yeah,
Bane is the contract killer, you know.
I mean, that depends on the version of Bane. Bane's like a character who's not really consistent.
Yeah, like not at all.
Yeah, never. He's like never consistent. I think though, like I'm not. This is not my favorite Batman film, but I think it's just objectively one of the best, and I think it's definitely my favorite of the ones that are theatrical releases, the ones that everyone would have seen or at least should have seen and know. Like they would. Like there are a lot of animated movies that people wouldn't know about. So they're just only available in stores and on digital.
And if you haven't seen this,
but you should know this one.
If you haven't seen Master of Phantasm, stop watching BVS and watch this movie.
Listen, wait a second. You can watch BVS and this one, right? There's no reason you can't watch them both. Yes. Okay, I should
first.
Yeah. Whichever one you have time for. I mean, it doesn't make a difference. They're not connected, so it doesn't matter which one you watch first.
Yeah, I don't ever mean to be like a hater of Batfleck because I love Ben Affleck as an actor. Same. But you know, I think some aspects of the character miss aspects of the character.
Yeah. You know what I also think is like very interesting about Mask of the Phantasm? That Mask of the Phantasm is also kind of an origin movie, if you think about it, because it kind of feels like it could have taken place before the original series. Because like, Robin's not here. Most of the movies in flashbacks.
I think it takes place in between 1 and 2, like seasons 1 and 2,
Okay, 'cause that's kind of weird to me that
because
this
like
feels.
the bat signal is there.
Yeah, because the bat signal, I guess also that would be like the one thing that kind of makes it clear it has to take out place during the show, but everything else
because
about it makes us feel like it could have been. I
because
also
the
like the fact that we actually got the origin of Batman as universe because we usually never saw what Batman was like before he was Batman. Like the show started and he was already Batman.
yeah.
Like you feel like he was experienced as Batman. This shows what he tried doing beforehand, how before he came up with the idea of the suit and the mask and like how he was going to use gadgets to get around places. I think like another underrated scene in this movie is when Andrea leaves him and he puts on the cowl for the first time. Like that was the moment he decided that I cannot be happy. This woman who I thought was the love of my life, who I would should give up my dream, my quest for, has
My mission.
left. And it's like fate that I was never clearly supposed to be with her. And
Yeah.
my mission is clearly the most important thing. And now I'm going to put on this mask and utterly terrify Alfred with the empty
Yeah.
gaze in my eye.
Because I mean, it's not even like terror. It's like my son is not gonna be happy.
Yeah, like it's like I think is I don't know if it's necessarily thinks my son is not going to be happy. I think he sees that my son isn't there.
Yeah.
It seems like he stops recognizing Bruce once he puts on the Batman mask. Like
Like
this man is not Bruce Wayne. This is not my son.
he believes in his son's mission,
Yes,
but
it's just
he also wants a happy life for Bruce,
yeah,
which he isn't going to get.
not as long as he's Batman. That's just not. I mean, I don't necessarily subscribe to the idea that Batman can't be Batman and be happy, but in this moment, it makes sense as to why I would not be able to explain to Batman why. Oh, you can definitely be happy. He's like, why? Tell me why. Tell me how. I'm like, I don't know. I could not tell him how it's gonna happen in this timeline. But in that scene,
I
it just felt
mean,
like okay, I could
the
believe
way I see
why
it,
Batman believes it.
the mantle of Batman with Bruce Wayne, like it works with other people. Other
Yeah,
people can bounce it, but with Bruce Wayne, he can't be happy. I don't think it's like character. I mean, his story is a tragedy.
I don't. I mean, while it is a tragedy, I do feel like Earth 2 with Batman and Catwoman and Helena Wayne have shown that Batman can be happy and
Yeah,
be
I mean
Batman.
that's a different Bruce Wayne. Like the main continuity Bruce Wayne.
Well, hold on a second. He was the main continuity at one point. He was, and then they hit Crisis on Infinite Earths and changed it.
Like my ideal Bruce Wayne. Um,
I don't know. I feel like my ideal
he,
Bruce Wayne is like one who accepts the
like
Bat family as his family. It's like I
well,
can crack a
yeah,
smile now and then.
like I think Bruce Wayne can have the Bat family, but I don't think you can like settle down or something.
Oh yeah, I don't think Batman can ever stop Bruce should ever stop being Batman without being dead or like physically
Because
unable to be Batman.
because
But I feel like being
he's pretty
Batman
upset.
doesn't keep him from being happy. Like I feel like Batman could come home from a night out, sit down with the Bat fan dinner. It never happens. They never lived in that house together. This is something that's just a not true thing. But like he could come home and they could all be there, say one night or something, and they're just tired from that before, and they can all sit down and be like, "Man, Batman can be happy." Because he wouldn't have the fam without being Batman.
It would be kind of cool if we got like if we got a new like writer for a Batman run, and every issue it was the Bat family sitting down at like the dinner table.
Yeah, I guess or it could be like that. It doesn't have to be like them in costume. I remember just every issue would end with a
No,
different
no,
number of them.
not like in costume.
Maybe like the last issue though, that'd be pretty funny. If like the end of the issue, there's like, oh, we're also how we're gonna eat dinner in the Bat costumes. Like that'd be funny. That'd be a funny
I mean,
panel that I would make my screensaver immediately.
like Knights of the Round Table or something.
Oh god, God, that would like that would be that'd be funny. But yeah, this is
Dark Knights of the Round Table.
Dark Knights of the Round Table. All right,
That could be a comic run. Just saying.
guys, you're right. It could be a comic run. All right,
So DC hire me.
this is easy Hyrule. Okay, that was Batman Ultra's 5 favorite animated Batman movies.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now we move on to my top 5
Yeah,
theatrical.
just one second. I'm gonna stop the
Yeah.
recording. Okay. Tune in next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to mine if you haven't. Goodbye.